Well, hi. What a game. Man, listen. It fully hasn't set into what just happened. That game was the most insanely frustrating, insanely exciting, insanely stupid game that I've ever seen in my life. Brian, is your mic working? No. Try it again. Try it again. Let's try to get Brian's mic working here. I'll let you know when I can hear you. Let me jump into some of the comments. Ron T hopping in here. What's going on, Ron? Appreciate you. Nope. Go Big Red. First comment. Escaped with a win. That was intense. Now get ready for Friday night. Exactly. Whenever Brian figures out his microphone situation, we're going to bring him back into the show. But what a game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm just kind of lost for words at the way that ended. For all intents and purposes, that was a game that went the exact opposite as we thought it was going to go. Maryland being a team that, hold on, let me see. Nope, still nothing yet. Nope. Maryland being a team that, for what it's worth, has had a bad time adjusting in the second half. Albeit against Washington, we saw them really kind of falter down the stretch, 24 unanswered points, losing that game 20-24. Let me see. I'll wait till Brian figures his, nope, still nothing on the mic. But Nebraska is able to come back and take a victory away from Maryland, and an incredible game. So Brian's going to, we'll pop him back in here in a second. Brian, I'll remove you for a quick second. Just let me know when you're ready to hop back in and test it. All right. So coming out of the first, let's just start at the early part of the game. Let's just go through it little by little. I expected Maryland to come out and put a good drive together to start the game. I expected them to come out early. And I talked about it. I thought they would come out and maybe score 14 points, but boy, was I wrong about that second half. Because in the second half, I was saying I was thinking Nebraska was going to be able to make the adjustments and shut them down in the second half. And boy, was I wrong. And one of the things that I will say out of this is this is a momentum building type of win. I think the way in which it happened, albeit with the frustrating middle part, I think the way they won that game, I think they're going to bring a lot into the next coming weeks. Still nothing, Brian, on that. Check your setting. Check your settings in there. Bunled, to be fair, you said you were worried about the pass rush. The pass rush was not the problem. We were all worried about this game. I mean, we all knew Maryland would be a live dog. I wasn't worried about the pass rush. But for all intents and purposes, Nebraska, the one thing that we thought would be the potential risk for Nebraska, which was the pass rush, was not a problem. It seemed when Nebraska had time that they were making some errant throws. What a game by Emmett Johnson. Of course, the game ball is going to go to Emmett Johnson. Special teams again. Nope. Special teams again coming in clutch. Brian, 1 second. Brian, it says your mic's not connected, dude. It says I can't unmute you because your mic's not connected. So figure that out. I'll just leave you in here. 179 yards for Johnson. What a game by Isaiah Hunter. Actually, between Isaiah Hunter and Emmett Johnson, it's hard to figure out who to give the game ball to. This team has turned the page. This would have been a loss in the last 6 years. And I understand out of the Michigan State game, coming out of the Michigan State game, in a way, a lot of people were saying this, right? This would have been a loss in previous years, but still coming out of that Michigan State game, there were so many things that I felt bad about, and I didn't feel good in the manner in which we won the game, because it felt like we still there was no way to build off of that win. This is a win that I feel like, even though the game script kind of went very similar, I feel like this is a game that Nebraska can build from and potentially start to make some noise this season, potentially a win to get them into the rankings. So we'll see how that all plays out. We are a fourth quarter team. That is true. I want us to get a little bit better in that middle part of the game, though. Awesome win, 100%. Took a 34-17, and we win the turnover margin, who had Dylan throwing 3 picks. Not me. There were some really bad decisions, really bad throws, but some awesome decisions as well. So I'll let Brian get his stuff situated here, and then we'll get it figured out. After throwing 3 picks, Dylan put together a great final drive to win it. That is, I tweeted right before that drive, I said, Raiola legacy drive incoming. And that is, I tweeted earlier in the game that he has a short memory. And because that early interception was a bad interception. He started making some throws in between that, but then he had that one where he tried to throw it out of bounds, and it didn't quite make it out of bounds. Brian, it's still showing your mic's not connected. Oh, wait. Showing is connected. Well, I can't hear you still. Showing is connected now, but I can't hear you. Did you check your StreamYard settings? Go big, MF and Red, that team that never gives up. And EJ's that guy. Yeah, 3 turnovers, still 1. EJ Greasy long run gave me whiffs of Abdullah. The way he can make guys miss, the way he can knife his way through. I mean, there was moments where he's cutting through sideways, knifing his way through the line for 4 yards. And the way he can make guys miss in a phone booth. I talked about this back in before he was even, in 2023. His ability to make guys miss, and he's a perfect running back for a one-cut zone blocking system. Like his ability to change direction, his quick explosive step. Still nothing. Nope. Still, yeah. So fewer sacks. Yeah, that was one of the things. Maryland's pass rush was a problem coming in, but we did a good job early on of some establishing the run. That is what I think kept Maryland's pass rush at bay, was coming out, establishing the run, establishing those quick throws. I'm also going to drop the StreamYard link here. If anybody does want to pop in here while I'm waiting on Brian, you can go ahead and pop in here. Brian emotionally tweeting mid-game strikes again. Yeah, not gonna lie. Oh, Brian popped back in. Let's hope his stuff is working now. Are you good now? No, this is equipment check mid-game. This is the halftime equipment check next time. Pitt, I've been saying EJ runs like Abdullah for over a year. People laugh. I think EJ's got a little bit more of an explosive. I feel like EJ's a little bit more explosive than Abdullah, and I think Abdullah just has insane patience and vision. But I think in a way they do run very, very similar. How about the special teams today? We don't win this game without special teams. That return was the exact response we needed. We had to respond right there, because if we get down multiple scores, then we really take kind of our running game out of the equation. Keeping that game within a score was imperative to make sure that we can still run that balanced offense and give ourselves an opportunity, to come back. As soon as we would get into a straight pass, if we got down multiple scores there, I think it was going to be bad, because that was when Maryland was going to have an opportunity to pin their ears back and be able to come after the quarterback. So, when does Franklin get fired? I don't know, but update on Penn State. Drew Aller was carted off towards the end of that game. Unbelievable. Hoping the best for him, but yeah, that has been an extreme. I'm talking expectations through the roof and then just falling off completely. Rule and Cole have been saying EJ is CMC-esque. I didn't laugh, Reg. We're seeing some of those open field moves this year. He's really faint. He's really faint. Is the volume turned up? Hey, is your volume turned up? Because I think they're saying they can hear you, but you're faint. Could be wrong. But I think he's saying he hears you. How about our actual transfer? Yes, Dan Key. And I talked about Dan Key coming into the season. What I said Dan Key was going to be is that reliable, sure-handed guy that we can go to in third down, and in the red zone. And that's exactly what we got from him today. Almost made that incredible catch there along the sideline, but then makes that one-handed catch there in the end zone to take the lead. And then good performance by the defense, but very up and down performance by the defense, which we'll dive into whenever I can get Brian to get his stuff working. So, how about the catch by Heinrich Harburg? Great catch there. I was a little worried for a second, but then I didn't realize he palmed with one hand. And then we got Bonelet hopping in here. Heinrich Harburg and Lindenmeyer both had. Lindenmeyer, one of the things about him, he steps up as soon as we need a play to be made, Lindemeyer's there. He is the ultimate kind of safety valve he is your Kelsey to your Mahomes, if you want to put it that way, since everybody wants to make that comparison. Brian, I'm hearing like flickers of like volume trying to come in, but like it's not. Close losses to close wins to blowout wins. Yeah. And I think that's where let's just start early on in the game. What I felt like they were doing well is what they've been doing well throughout the consistent part of the early games of the season. Now, when I was talking about the Michigan State last week, and this is still something that needs to be fixed, it's almost like there's a concentration lapse, and I don't know what it is from this team. Boneled, we can hop in. Hey, what's up, Boneled?
Not much.
Let it bring you in. It said that you had to connect your stuff. So what's going on, man?
Oh, well, how about that catch by Heinrich Harburg,
Unbelievable.
ripping it away from that defender? Had he not made that catch,
Yeah.
that's where it would have ended. But man, let me tell you, you know, uh, and the two last drives we had, those two
Yep.
big drives, the way Smith. I wish it was Emmett Smith.
Close enough.
Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson ran. I was like, holy smokes!
Yeah, he was. Yeah, without him, we don't score in that last drive. That was his game. He put the team on his back in this game. Him and Isaiah Hunter, unbelievable performances by them.
Yeah,
I cannot say there's not enough superlatives to talk about how good they were.
And how about our special teams? The 85-yard punt return that gave us huge, and I mean huge momentum.
That was it. That was the game. If we don't return that, we don't win that game, in my opinion, because that was the answer that we needed. Everything was going by the wayside. The offense wasn't in a rhythm. The defense couldn't find a rhythm. But you go down there and you put your offense in a position to score, and although they don't get the touchdown, you put them in a position to score and get points. That is still momentum that they get. Yeah, I think we lose that game if we don't.
Because I heard Damon Benning and Kyle Crick say, it was like 4th and 4, and then we got that. I think it was a false start or delay of game, and they said, well, you're going to need a field goal anyway, so go ahead and take the field goal. So we took the field goal, and then we went down and got the touchdown. So either way, I mean, I don't know if they still would have went for it if it was 4th and 4 or not, but that's a moot point, but it might have just been to try to draw them off sides too. But
I'm glad. I think we were snapping it, and I'm glad we took the 3.
Well,
I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Honestly, because I was not confident in a 4th down play from that far away.
Well, here, Brian, can you hear me?
I think he might be back.
I'm on my phone.
There he is.
In this one. Yeah.
There he is.
So I have audio coming through here, and then everything else come through there.
I can hear you. Yeah. So you can be heard.
We got him. Ladies and gentlemen. So Boneled, I appreciate you hopping in here, man. I'm gonna throw Brian on here so we can get his thoughts on the game, man.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Yep. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right.
What's up, Brian? How's it going, sir?
We're going. That was a big win.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear your thoughts.
Sorry about the technical issues. Everything was working while I was running back and forth between our living room during the game, and then as soon as you hit live, nothing worked.
Sounds about StreamYard.
Yeah. So I'll keep the comments up on here, but this is my dad, everybody. Dad, you can scoot over.
Hello, everyone.
Drove down from Kansas City, so we watched the game together.
Justin, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I appreciate you hopping on, man.
Hey, it was a fun game. Ups and downs, left and right, but ultimately a win, right?
100%. Can't be mad at a win. Well, you can be. Can't be mad at parts, but I feel like coming out of that game, I think us winning at the end has me a lot more high energy than last week's Michigan State, where we put the game away and then kind of trailed off towards the end. But Brian, do you agree with me that I think this is more so than the Michigan State game, even though there were a lot of flaws? This is the game that you build from. This is a momentum building game because of the way in which you won. Nebraska hasn't won like that in a long time, I feel like.
Yeah, this was a game that had a lot of ebbs and flows to it. They kept showing the different runs during the game, but I think when they had the failed 4th down, I immediately said to my dad, and then I texted you, I was like, they're learning how to win, and that was the most important thing, I think, to take away. Dylan didn't play great today, but when you needed him to step up, when you needed Dinky to step up, when you needed everyone to step up, they made that big drive. What was it, 92 yards, the final drive? And then they got the big play on 4th down. It was just kind of, it was like almost like a a clearing of the house, and essentially, we finally are getting rid of these demons, and we're learning to kind of close these one-score games out, because we're 4-11 previously, and one of those wins was last week against Michigan State. It was Cincinnati earlier this year. So it's a big step.
Think about all the money that we spent on wide receiver in this offseason, and look at the two guys who stepped up from the wide receiver position, Isaiah Hunter, Dane Key. The two guys that we went after early. Dane Key, again, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. I think he's the most NFL ready guy and the best NFL prospect on our team, because when you need that guy to make a play, he's there. He's about as sure-handed as it gets. You just got to get it to him, and I think there are opportunities for him to create a little more separation. I think Isaiah Hunter, they do a better job of getting Isaiah in space. That's just the way he operates. But man, I love to watch Dane Key. And Dylan Raiola, his confidence level, just his ability to respond after the couple. It seemed like when he came out for that drive, like there was a confidence about me that he was confident that he was going to go down and score. For some reason, I never felt like we were going to lose that game.
Man, I felt like we were going to lose.
Last week, I felt like we were. Last week, I felt like demoralized, like we're gonna lose this game. This week, for some reason, that never clicked in me. Like that, I just never lost confidence. Had we gone down 2 scores, I was ready to concede it in my mind, though. But I was like, if we keep this game within a score, I think we're gonna win.
My big thing was the defense was really struggling. I mean, the numbers show, like, I think before that, final drive or two, Maryland had like 319 yards of offense, which isn't like an insane amount for an entire game, but it just felt like the defense was really struggling. Third downs were a disaster today. Maryland was the worst third down conversion team in the Big Ten, and they were, I want to say like 9 of 15, 16-ish, and they were just dominating on third down. It seemed like they had an answer for everything. I'll tell you what, what made me the most nervous was their quarterback. That kid is incredible for how young he is.
I think that's one of the things I got to point out. While the defense did struggle at times, we got to give credit on some of those throws, because there are some plays where we had it covered decently well, and he just made a better throw and put it where only his guy could get it. So, he is, big body dude. He has an arm, and whenever Nebraska was sitting back in zone coverage and letting him throw, he was sitting back there and picking it apart. I think just and even that throw where he floated that ball over the middle of the field there on third down, to give them a shot on that 4th and short at the end of the game. Like, beautiful even that throw, just having enough touch on that to loft that over that guy in the middle of the field, because that guy's deep down the middle of the field. To know just how much touch that he needs to put on that ball to where his wide receiver can go up and get it. Just in that moment too, like, he's going to be a really, really, he already is, but he's going to be a damn good quarterback and a tough guy. To beat. If he sticks with Maryland's going to be a tough team. And one of the things that concerned me is, like, they weren't as deep as us, but they were just they're out muscling us, into the third and fourth quarter. I was so lost on what was going on. But Maryland, maybe they're learning some things, because again, that team was not a good second half team for the majority of the season. They were not making good second half adjustments, and in this game, it just seemed like everything clicked in the second half for him.
I think part of my frustrations too, or we were complaining about it the whole game, was what are we doing to get pressure? Like, they continuously were rushing 3 or rushing 4. They're very rarely were bringing any pressure. And I feel like that was part of why he was so successful, is he had a lot of time to sit there and read the defense, which you give a quarterback that talented 3, 4, 5 seconds, he's going to do exactly what he did, just pick you apart.
Yep. And going, so let's take it back to early in the game. So Nebraska, comes out on that early drive. They march their way down the field pretty well, but then that 4th down comes and our offensive line, they just kind of blow up that run play there. Maryland's first touchdown, I think, was on that run to the outside, right? To the right? To the right, yeah.
Dason McCullough came flying off the edge, and then Vincent didn't. Vincent kind of stood still instead of filling the gap.
Yeah, Guthrie and Guthrie was actually it looked like they were running a cover 1 robber where Guthrie was rotating up and rotating away from that play. So it was a perfectly timed play call to go to that side of the field, because Guthrie was literally rotating towards the middle of the field to close that middle of the field in that cover 1 robber spot. And you saw, I think it was who was that Shavers that was cheating down to the underneath. And so Guthrie had to turn around and try to come back and make that tackle and just couldn't. It was a really good play call there for them. Fast forward to a little later in the game, Nebraska comes down and makes it, what was it, 14-7 Nebraska. And then I'm trying to remember drive by drive what happened. Just so many things happened in that second half. Now I kind of brain dumped the first half.
The second touchdown was the one I was talking about a second ago, it was a run to the right. It was like a 28-yard touchdown. And Desaun came flying off the edge, and then it looked like Vincent was supposed to probably rotate to fill that gap, and he was super late rotating over.
Yeah, I'm trying to let me see if I can pull up the full game stats here.
It was a fake to the fullback. That's kind of frozen, just long enough to let that guy get to the edge.
Yep. Yeah, there was let me see here. And one thing I will say, Brian, I don't know about your opinion on this, but when we line Harburg up at quarterback, our play calling is way too predictable. It's like you have Dylan on the
my note. This is my note. HH Wildcat dumb.
You have Dylan to the left side of the field, so you know you're not running to the left. They know you're not running to the left, and I thought maybe they're going to motion or do some kind of trickery, but it's just straight QB draw, QB power. They know it's coming every single time. I don't know why we continue to try to do that.
Not only that, but when they make Harburg actually, when they do run that play and they make him run horizontally, he's really bad at it because he's more of a lumbering type runner where he needs a bit of steam to get going, and he has no horizontal speed.
Yep. Cripes, yeah, the Hoosiers are screw Signetti. How much longer can Maryland put up with Loxley? I mean, who are you going to go with? Honestly.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, because Maryland's 4-2 right now, so I think they're sticking with them. I mean, they played us pretty close. Pretty close. I mean, they played
better than they have in previous years.
This was the best they've looked this season, in my
opinion. And they got a dude at quarterback.
Yep. Indiana beat Oregon. Wow. Oh, Curtis over there making some more noise at Indiana. Yes. Anyone going to the Penn State game? Drew Aller was carted off the field for those that didn't hear that earlier. How about that 30-yard falling down completion to Hunter? That's the thing.
What the hell happened? Can you explain this?
Those are the things that don't make any sense to me from Dylan. It's like completely loses his base and still delivers a money throw on a double move of all things. Mm-hmm. So like it's a route where you got to time it up right and put it on the money, and he loses his footing and still throws it perfectly up there. It's just like, for some reason, like I just feel like when Dylan doesn't need to be on, he's not. But when he needs to be on, he is. Like, that's how I feel like this season has been. Middle of the game, it's just like Dylan just shuts off. And like
the whole team does. It's the most bizarre thing in the world.
Now like I need the game to be close to like lock in.
Yeah. Now I will, like, one of my notes was like Nebraska started hot and then started to go flat. And when I made that note, that it looked like Maryland was starting to kind of take control, and then Nebraska fired back with an 85-yard kickoff return. They scored a touchdown on the play a couple plays later, and then it kind of sustained them from going flat for a little bit longer. They eventually went flat, though.
Yeah, let me go through, and I'm going to go through some of the team stats here. So third down was a big one here. Maryland was 7 for 15 on third down. Man, we could not get off the field on third down, and you're not going to win. I'm going 7 for 15 on third down and winning the game. That is impressive, because if a team goes 7 for 15 on third down, 9 times out of 10 you're losing that game, especially when you're 3 for 7. So total yards 453 to 379. It felt way worse than that. I think, to your point, yeah, you were right. It felt like a lot more yards than
they had an answer for everything in the moments they needed it.
249. So Nebraska got 9.0 per pass, 6.7 for Maryland. Of course, a lot of that's on the yards after catch there for Nebraska. 3 interceptions to none. So you're going into a game where you're 3 of 7 versus 7 of 15 on third down, 3 interceptions to none, and you win a game. Like, it's impressive in its own right. Impressive in all the worst ways. But again, that is why this game, to me, is different than the Michigan State game, because I feel like this is a game where we threw this away. Like, we were throwing this game away and like pulled victory back from the jaws. Like, in the Michigan State game, I felt like it was just like, I don't know. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying with that? I'm trying to kind of conceptualize and put it to words.
Go ahead.
No, I'm thinking, looking at these stats, and I'm thinking you have 3 turnovers, 1 pick six, one where they scored a touchdown, one where they scored a field goal, and we still win the game.
Yep.
7 points.
That's 17 points off turnovers, and we won it by 3. That's pretty amazing.
This is more than just a 1-score game win. This is a 1-score game win where you went full Nebraska and still found a way to pull it off.
Yep.
You know, they did everything in their power. This wouldn't have just been a loss in previous years. I feel like this would have been a 3-score loss in previous.
This would have been an absolute rout.
Exactly.
Yes.
They would have given up. They would have given up after that pick 6.
Oh, 100%. That kick return would have never happened. Oh, thank God. Thank God for Eckler, man. Just
what a difference that's turning out to be. The special teams a year ago prevented us from winning long games, and it may be the reason this team gets to 9, because I don't know if they're good enough to get to 9 right now.
I think that's 3 wins from the special teams, contributed directly to the special teams here. And what about Kunanen? Like, not enough, can be said about him. I feel like he's just secretly flying under the radar because he's been so good. Stepping up and making the kicks when we need him to. Like, it's so nice to not be stressed out during a kick, to the point where, like, we were so anti-kicker that now it's like we have a kicker who's regularly making them. So, like, we don't really talk about the kicker much, but I feel like he deserves some credit.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the punter?
Yeah. What's going on with Archie, man?
They never came back and said how far that punt actually went, but it couldn't have been more than 10 yards.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the numbers here on the punt numbers.
He started really well, and the last couple punts have not been good.
Yeah, 20 yards. 1 punt for 20 yards.
Yeah, and also too, I don't know if that was supposed to be like one of those banana kicks that Rule was talking about, where you roll left and then you kick it to the opposite hash or something.
Yeah.
But they rolled out to the short side of the field.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a terrible design. But other than that, special teams is phenomenal.
Yeah. I think Archie will get it down. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. And he's a freshman at the end of the day. So, but I think he just needs to boot it and stop trying to do too much. I think they just need to let him punt right now and just stop trying to get too cute with it. Sometimes we just got to let him rip that baby down the field. Good thing when Maryland is terrible and can't even win when forcing 3 turnovers. Everybody's going to throw NIL money at Washington. Yeah, 100%. Nico just might get paid to be a Hurricane next season. Was Deshaun Foster that bad of a coach? Yes. The answer is
our speculation is they wanted to get him fired.
Yeah.
I like how everybody's like, I told you I was worried about this game. We all said this game had the potential to be close. Like, this is not like everybody says they're worried about every single game, every single week.
In fairness, the spread was like what, 5.5? Is that what it ended up being?
Yeah, it closed at 5.5. Like, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a close game. This wasn't like Houston Christian.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I picked Nebraska to win by like 20, which I thought our defense was better than they look today. But
at the same time, like, in the back of our mind, we make those predictions because that's what we should have, based on how they played this season. Of course,
you take away 17 points off turnovers and they beat the shit out of them.
That's what I'm saying. But Nebraska did everything in their power. But, like, the thing about it is, there was always a little bit of concern about this game because Maryland's a good team. They're 4-1. Yeah.
Well, the concern I still see is the running game inside the 10-yard line. I mean, we had the 4th and 2 on our first drive, was it?
Yeah.
And went for it and missed.
Yeah.
Then we had another inside the 10-yard line late in the game there where we had to settle for the field goal.
Yeah.
I mean, Emmett Johnson was ripping off runs left and right. And what do? We start throwing the ball on the goal line.
And that's how we got down there, too, was his 58-yard run.
Let me just tell you what my thought was when Dylan dropped back to pass on that touchdown to Dane Key.
Jesus.
All right, when Dylan dropped back to pass on that touchdown to Dane Key, I was thinking to myself, we just came off of a red zone possession where we passed the ball 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. And then we were coming back down and we threw the ball on first down and we threw the ball on second down. Right. Or was that, that was second. I was like, if we do not get a touchdown here because we threw the ball, the world's going to right. I think the tension will be brought off of that, but we still should have ran the ball there at the end of the game, at least on that first down or second down. We should have run the ball. It worked out, but we should have ran the ball there in the goal line at the end too.
Yeah. Well, even too, like on the one where it looked like they were going for it on fourth down. They ended up kicking the field goal.
Yep, they were
that
going
was
for it.
a fade route.
That happened.
Do what?
You talking about the delay game?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was not a fan of them actually looking like they were going to go for it.
I didn't want to. I know I absolutely did not want to go for it. I was so happy that delay game got called, but still, I was just like, we need one of those Bryce Underwood seconds there, like, because like they threw the flag immediately, but last week Bryce Underwood, they're like, no, it's got to go full tick to 0 before we'll throw the delay game. Remember on that touchdown run? So like, which one is it? Like, are we throwing?
You mean 2 weeks ago against Michigan?
Yeah.
And he had like a 38-yard touchdown run, and the clock had been expired for 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. We needed a Bryce Underwood second, and but I didn't like going for it there at all. I just wasn't confident enough in the way the offense had been running up to that point. Aller is out for the season. Yes, he got carted off with a knee injury. USC over Michigan tonight could make the Big Ten standings at the very end of the year messy. That's a very interesting game. It'll be a good gauge for to see what USC looks like too against a common opponent, since they are on our schedule coming up. And you say we're not looking like a 9-win team, but we may, by nature of some teams being absolutely terrible and Penn State losing their quarterback, be able to be a 9-win team, but if everything works its way out. But I think I can't find unless UCLA somehow UCLA might be a scary game now, all things considered.
Sometimes you see like these teams after they fire a coach where they get really hot. Kind of happened with Joseph. So eventually, I feel like they're eventually going to kind of flatline, but maybe not. I don't know.
I think they'll be a little bit better than they were with Foster, but at the end of the day, that team is still not super, super talented. But we'll see. Penn State keeps looking more and more beatable. Good God. Mm-hmm. Can we win versus Penn State? Yeah, we can. I mean, of course we can. Will we? That's still a damn good team. I don't care what
they're going to run it down your throat, and you did not look very good today. I mean, you gave up 6 yards of carry to their starting running back today.
Yeah, that's a very good team over there. So yeah, let's go. I want to hear more of your dad's take on it. Was there anything that he wanted to talk about on this game?
He's a more calm one than me. I'm very irrational.
I've become a lot more calm over the years.
I just wanted to see if he wanted to get some conversation, get some things off his chest, and let him have his moment.
Well, I think Dylan, after a year and a half now, he should know better than trying to make that rollout throw 40 yards downfield on 1st and 10 and throws a pick. I mean, saw what Malik Washington, right?
Yeah.
You saw what he did when they had that last possession. He had nowhere to go with it. He rolled out and he threw it out of bounds. Now he got a intentional grounding penalty, but still the mentality was, I have nothing to do here, so I'm going to get rid of it.
And you got to make sure you get rid of it. Get it out of bounds.
And you still see Dylan trying to make those Brett Favre throws, and
even that one across the field to Luke Lindenmeyer that worked out for a big gain on the final drive. I mean, that's still a
scary throw.
That is a terrifying throw.
It is.
But that is even too, like his first interception too. They ran hitches across the board. Everybody was running a hitch route, quick 3-4 yards, and you hitch. Yep. And he had Emmett wide open in the flat, not wide, but pretty wide open. And then instead of hitting Emmett in the flat, he looks through his progressions and he sees Dane Key, I think it was, barely open, tries to shove it in there, and it resulted in a pick. And that was what I was telling my friend Cole earlier today, was when he sees the open guy, he just needs to fucking throw it instead of trying to find the most open guy, because that's what happens.
Yeah.
David, my bad. I wasn't trying to go in on you, my friend. When he said it, told you I was worried about this game. It's okay, man.
I still think great teams always play great on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
And we're not there yet.
That's still a concern. I've seen a little bit more individual efforts. Like I've seen some better individual efforts on the defensive line. But as a unit, in the trenches, we still got to get better, because I don't care what happens to Penn State. That is a team that is built they're deep and they're built well in the trenches. So that game is always going to be a scary matchup for us. But other than that, looking at, so, USC was supposed to be a little bit more physical in the trenches. They've kind of haven't been as good as people thought on the front. Minnesota will be an interesting test next week because they typically are good, on the line of scrimmage. They're not really putting up big numbers. They're not putting explosive plays, but they are a team that doesn't beat themselves and are pretty good on the line. So that's going to be an interesting matchup this coming week.
They're going to be very similar to a Michigan and a Cincinnati run scheme too, where it's going to be a zone scheme. And I remember a handful of years ago, I think Muhammad Ibrahim was their running back, and he ran for like 190 yards against Nebraska, and they could not figure out how to stop this zone running scheme. He was just, everything was busting outside, and he was running down the field constantly.
The good news is we've gone up against a bunch of zone runnings, so we have a lot on film. If we can apply it and just get a little bit more aggressive, get a little bit more downhill. But in many ways, to me, and did you feel like the defense kind of, I feel like they came out early aggressive, but then I feel like, I don't know what happened, but I felt like they kind of lost that aggression. And I felt like when they lost that edge, that's when things kind of started unraveling. Did you kind of notice that too?
Go first. I don't know if it was the edge. It seemed like Butler just got set in his ways to stay in a zone with a 3-man rush, maybe a fourth here and there. It seemed like he didn't mix up his defenses as much as he normally does.
Which was surprising because that was the recipe that I talked about on Tuesday. Get out there, confuse a young quarterback, is just get out there. And there was multiple times where he did kind of do some rolling coverages. But again, it just seemed like when it didn't seem like it was working on the confusing him side of things. And then it seemed like, kind of like to your point, like we almost abandoned that and just kind of went to playing straight base defense. And again, he was just kind of sitting back and picking apart that zone. So
Dasan McCullough, I feel like they constantly drop him in coverage randomly. He just needs to be a straight up edge rusher. The kid is too long, too athletic, too quick off the edge. Think about they literally in the game, they did the interview like between quarters and rules like we need to make a stop here. Then the next play happened and it was Dasan launching out like a freaking ball out of a cannon and making that stop. Yep. He's so good on the edge. I don't know why they keep dropping in coverage. I know he's good in coverage or somewhat decent in coverage, but you got to get a pass rush. And right now, Williams Nawarni is the only guy who's getting any consistent pass rush.
What if you put them on both of them on one side of the ball?
Yeah.
Have both rush.
And I wasn't sure who.
That's where the creativity is. The creativity doesn't seem to be there. It's, you've got two fairly small edge rushers. They're not 275, 280-pound guys. Their quickness is their strength.
Yeah.
And, if you had a couple of big guys in the middle and let them rush off the edge, I think they'd be better off. But, what do I know?
I feel like maybe our team defense wasn't where because there were multiple instances where, they would run to the outside and there would be, nobody out there. And this isn't a team that was supposed to be faster than us on paper. This is not a team that offensively was supposed to be faster on defense on paper. But there were moments where it looked like they were just beating us to the edges, especially on runs. That to me was a little concerning because, again, this is a 3-5 personnel defense. So they're built for that speed. And you just can't get beat to the edges by a team like Maryland because we're going to go against a bunch of some fast, explosive teams upcoming. But, yeah, so that concerned me a little bit. But, again, the defense for the most part, like I feel like the defense in this game for a lot of what happened in the past, I feel like I'm just going to we'll call it an outlier and hope that, like, this was a bad game for the secondary, and just the way they called the game was a big kind of bend don't break because what Maryland has been this year, they've been a team that doesn't really score or that doesn't really kind of like, it's a word I'm looking for. They have they're not an efficient offense, so to speak. They're and defensively they force sacks, they force turnovers. but they give up a ton of yards, and that was what was concerning to me today, is that Michigan State is a team that gave a bunch of yards too, and we were still kind of at our wits end and trying to make our offense move at a lot of times. Do you notice anything in the offense that you see that's kind of a frustration point for you, or do you see anything that lends to why you think there is inconsistencies?
Our offense specifically?
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is always the lack of a running game. I think we have a decent running game, and it feels like they abandon it randomly. There's a few points during this game. I think we were up. I think it was 14-0. It was early. We had a chance to really kind of not put the game out of reach, but really take control of the game. In the first play, they threw an interception, and then the next possession they started just throwing it like crazy. And I don't know why they don't just stick with what's working. I mean, the first 3 plays of the game were runs, and you got 12, and 8 yards. Emmett for the game, what was his total? It's like 17 attempts for like 180 yards. 21 attempts for 176 yards. I mean, he ended up with a lot of attempts. A lot of that came in the second half, but I would like to see them kind of stick to the run more, and then mix in Isaiah Mosey more too. 5 attempts isn't enough when you have supposedly a lot of talent.
Who's our RB2?
Running back room. Yeah, that thing. Who the hell is the running backs outside of Emmett? It's so frustrating week to week.
Well, it's like who is our RB2? Like, I feel like
today was Isaiah.
Yeah, but I feel like there's no, I don't know. It's like they're not trying to get a second running back going again. I feel like we're kind of running into what we did last year, where we're like the running back room. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason behind why we make some of the changes we do when we put somebody in. I would still like to see a little
today.
bit
They pulled Isaiah Mosey out after like 2 plays, and I was like, how is he supposed to get a rhythm as a backup when he comes in and out like that?
That was the problem last year. But at least this year, Emmett's getting. Last year, the problem with Satterfield was nobody was getting a hot hand. There, we didn't know who our running back 1 was. Now we just don't know who running back 2 is, and I would like us to be able to find that identity, because we go get most of the teams we go against, they have a clear-cut RB2. Like, we know who their 2 running backs are. Right now it's Emmett and like the rest, and I'm just waiting for somebody by this point. I thought somebody by this point would have kind of separated themselves as that RB2, but I don't think they're giving enough of an opportunity for somebody to get a hot hand. It's hard when Emmett's running the way he is, though, to get him off the field.
Yeah, I don't fault them for like not giving them other touches, especially a game like today where Emmett was really clearly in a groove. But there's going to be a game where or multiple game stretch here potentially where he has to get 20 plus carries a game, and can he withstand that workload?
And we're going to want to preemptively know who we're going to turn to if, he has a game off, or heaven forbid he goes down, who do we turn to then, So Colorado, I saw they were up by a touchdown. Iowa State's kind of overrated. Nelson came in for 1 carry of 11 yards last week. Like to see him on
the field today.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre thing.
One carry. What do you have? 1 or 2 carries?
He didn't have a carry. He didn't see the field.
Oh, he didn't
today.
I thought he got 1.
No.
Jeez, man.
No, I'm looking at Emmett, Isaiah, and Harburg, and Dylan. That's it.
Yeah. Looks like Mosey's RB2. This game, he got plenty.
He should probably be in like that 7 to 10 range.
I still think when they bring him out there, give him more touches, give him more of a role. You know what I'm saying? Like, let him establish some kind of a role as well. But I think we'll see that kind of hopefully as we move forward the season. But again, I would like to see a little bit more of my guy Ives too. Give Quentin some touches.
There aren't any guys on the roster right now that are legit power backs outside of Quentin.
Yeah,
and maybe Connor Booth.
Do you think it's partially because we need somebody who can break tackles at the line, and that's Emmett?
Part of it, yeah. You're not only breaking them, but you're making guys miss. I said it. My dad said it again today. Like, Emmett reminds me so much of Amir Abdullah. I don't know how there's any better comparison than Amir.
Yeah, it's very they run very, very similar.
Yeah,
they run very, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, his ability to bounce back and forth within about a 1-step range.
Mm-hmm.
There was that one run where I think he screened 3 times, and I don't know who else can do that. And that's all footwork, and that's all natural ability.
Yeah, that's just his quick feet and change of direction. He's got that explosive step. So I mean, when he plants that foot, he can cut so fast, and that's a perfect running back for zone blocking. Like you get him going.
If you have an offensive line that isn't blowing holes in the other team, you better have somebody that can see little holes and gaps and
find the cutbacks,
and be able to cut back and get into a hole.
Yeah, it's like Arian Foster was excellent at that. Like that's what made Arian Foster so good when he was with the Texans. Like he wasn't a guy who would kill you with speed, but he had insanely good vision, and he could find those little openings and knife through them and create bigger space for himself. And then Emmett just, for some reason, I don't care what it is, Emmett's feet get crossed up. He starts spinning around. He is so hard to get down on the ground.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I think he's like, oh, his feet are crossed up, he's taking a hit here, he like spins off the hit and gets an extra 3 yards. Like it is so hard to tackle that guy.
That big run he had that basically put us in the red zone for the game-winning touchdown. I mean,
he was just bouncing off
he
guys.
Bounced outside. He juked a guy. He spun around. Some dude's tackling him at the legs. He starts spinning around. And then after he clears that, he immediately juked back to the left because there's a defender coming from the backside. And then I don't remember which offensive lineman was ahead of him, but they were on the ground trying to block for him. I thought that was phenomenal effort.
Yeah, I agree. Let me see here. Let me look through. I want to look through some of the scores here just real quick and see if there's anything. Texas beats Oklahoma, by the way.
I can't believe that.
So USC's up right now in Michigan 7-0. They just scored. And then
Michigan was up, you said?
USC just went up 7-0. Literally just went up 7-0 on them. And then Indiana beat Oregon 30-20, in case you missed that one as well.
That's Indiana. Wow.
Kurt Signetti, man.
I'm annoyed. Tex ass. Yeah, unfortunately they won today. I'm from Texas. And I'm
against Florida is tied with A&M right now.
Yeah, 14-14. I see that. Wow. So moving on to next week, all right, with this game, do you have more confidence coming out of this game or less?
Oh man.
It's tough to answer right now, right?
I'm not very confident in the grand scheme of things, but I think they're starting to put things together. They're winning close games, which is important. The last 2 weeks they've been in a shitty spot because of their own play, but they've come out of it with a victory. And I think that is important for the mindset of, okay, like you're starting to see these wins on the board. You're starting to see close wins. You're starting to see the whole team kind of rally together. I believe it was at the end of the third. No, it was at the end of the third quarter. We were driving, and I was like, just let it go to it was 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
It's a 2-minute warning. And I said, just let it go to the 2-minute warning. And the whole team was huddled, and that was not a huddle of a play call. That was a huddle of, we got to go finish this shit right now. That was basically the conversation that was happening, and those are important to have.
Yep. Yeah.
You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, offensively, I don't think Minnesota is going to be anywhere near as good as Maryland.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different style of offense, which we struggle with, heavy run games. Their defense, I don't think they're going to be able to stop Dillon as long as he quits making dumb mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I wanted to get to because, Brian, you heard me mention this. Well, I don't know if I did it Friday or Tuesday, but no, it was Tuesday, where I was talking about Julian saying how, he's quick at processing the reads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like we just still need to see that improvement. Like it's just, there's still so much left on the field. And while he does make credible throws, came back and, won the game for us today, there's still so much I feel like that's getting left on the field right now. And I think that's the one part that the downside of this. And I, showed it on that Michigan game where, there's routes that are out there to be had that we're just not even kind of looking at. And I feel like we're still getting a little too mixed and caught up on our 1 and 2 reads, because a couple of those interceptions where they're showing him and Dillon's eyes don't move. He's just looking it down in a lot of cases. And I know they're putting a lot on him, but I just want to see his processing and his reads get a little bit quicker, man. It's just like, and I also want to see this team, like, we talk about how teams like Cincinnati are slowly improving week by week, right? You look at UCLA. UCLA is getting better week by week. Of course, they fired the coach, but again, I don't think we're seeing that progress that we still need to see. And we are lucky to have a favorable schedule because this team still needs to make some progress before, like you said, they are a 9-win team, kind of like we pinned them to be. Like for this team to be a 9-win team, I'm not talking about a 9-win team with a favorable schedule. I'm talking about this team to be a 9-win team. You know what I'm saying? Like
where we play like the Ohio States and the Penn States when they're not falling apart and actually beat them.
Right. Like it's just there's still that middle part of the game that is always going to make us feel uneasy right now. It's just like I'm trying to put my finger on what it is that makes this team just fall apart in that middle part of the game. I cannot put my finger on it. But again, it's just almost like this team, like they need the adrenaline of, oh crap, my back's against the wall to lock in. But you can't play like that. Like Ohio State doesn't do that. Ohio State's locked in for 4 quarters, you know?
Their goal is to put their foot on your throat and crush you.
So I just want to figure out what it is that this team needs to do to get locked in for 4 quarters for us to feel confident going into each and every single week, you know, like we should be.
It's a mentality thing. And yes, Brandon's 100% right. That happens every single time. It's almost a superstition at this point. I'm an emotional tweeter, so like I'm panicking literally for the entire game. And then eventually I chill out and I sit in my chair or my couch and I go, we're gonna fucking lose this game. I'm so over it. I'm just gonna watch and not tweet anymore. And then they come back and win.
I think doing this for a couple years, I get like, I don't know. I've learned to not get emotional during the games, which is kind of crazy for me. But yeah, and last week I stopped tweeting at all. I just said, I'm done. See you on the post game. I'm over this. And then we came back and won. So maybe I should just stop tweeting too.
Well, his problem is he has my genes. And when I was 30, you know, my week would be ruined if we got beat by the Sooners again.
I love that. Yeah, I'm from Texas, so my week was always ruined if we lost to Texas because I was surrounded by Longhorn fans. My family was half split between Longhorns and Nebraska fans. So my dad's side's from Nebraska, my mom's side from Texas. So yeah, it was Texas that I hated growing up.
I still hate them.
I mean, yeah, I still hate them. Not quite as much, but yeah. All right, Brian. Well, let's look forward to next week a little bit. How you feel about the Minnesota game? Do you think Nebraska opens as a big favorite? What do you think? I know we're going to open as a favorite for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's probably. I say Nebraska probably like -4.5.
Yeah, I'd give us
with an over under of probably like a total score of like I'd say like 42.
Yeah, I'd give us 5.5, 6.5, something like that.
We'll see how they play tonight. They're playing Purdue, and they actually are halfway respectable right now with Odom as their coach because he's actually a really good coach. So
yeah, and Ohio State was just they ran into an absolute buzzsaw in Ohio State last week. Ohio State is a wagon, dude.
Yeah, they're gonna win it again.
Yeah, I mean, I said they were going to win it last year at the beginning of the season. I predicted they were going to. I've said it. Ohio State until they lose a game, they're my favorite to win it all. Until they lose a game, each and every single season. If they go into the next season and they lose their whole roster, I don't care. Until they lose a game, they're my favorite. Because they just consistently win. I don't know. They're the most consistent team in college football history. They really are. If you talking about win percentage, it's crazy. My pucker will release a little if we could just beat a conference opponent pulling away as it looks right now. We could be. It just seems like this team doesn't want to pull away. Okay.
They've had multiple chances.
We're just destined for close games. Get to 9 to 10 wins, the favorable schedule, lock down some of those bigger tackle line prospects for 2027. Agreed. Listen, we're sitting at 5-1. We can't be too upset about that. So
we want a Big Ten conference road game in comeback fashion.
Do we call that a road game?
Yeah, it was more like Lincoln East.
Yeah, it was another like one of those neutral site like Kansas City home games.
Minnesota will be like that too. When we went, 2022,
2 years ago.
Yeah, when we played up there in Minnesota. When we went, there was Nebraska fans everywhere. And it's a Friday night too. So
yep. It'll be definitely an interesting game, but I think that'll be honestly, like, I feel like Nebraska needs to play a team that doesn't have I don't want to say a good quarterback, but I feel like Minnesota is a team that doesn't scare me because of their lack of explosiveness. Now, Nebraska is going to have to cut out the screw ups that they had today. They can't beat themselves. They can't do what they did today. Now, so if they can protect the football, like, I feel much more confident against a team like a Minnesota, just because of their lack of explosiveness and consistency on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, how do you feel going into Minnesota?
I feel pretty good, but there's those couple things that they have to figure out, and one of them is going to be stop the run, and the other thing is going to be Dylan take care of the ball.
Yeah, this is going to be a game where Nebraska has to put drives together consistently throughout the game, because Minnesota is a team that can nickel and dime their way down the field, and you don't want to let them get that momentum rolling and wear your defense down, and put your back against the wall. That's the one thing you got to prevent. You got to force Minnesota to be a team that's going to be throwing the ball. So I think it's going to be, important in that one to string consistent drives together. So, hopefully that we can finally see that and see a 4-quarter. I just want to see a 4-quarter performance, man. Just one. Just give me 4.
Give me 3.5, and just that half could be like the first 10 minutes of the first quarter for all I care.
I'll accept it. I just want to see consistency through the game, a little bit more consistency through the game. Because again, it's just the thing I've been talking about every single week. Start good, finish good. The middle matters. So, all right, Brian, anything else before we go ahead and wrap up here?
Well, you say the middle matters, which Coach Rule talks about the middle 8 all the time. In the last couple of weeks, they've been a disaster in the middle 8 and still won.
Yep.
The positive spin on a negative situation.
100%. But we're kind of what we talked about before. It's just this year we've moved the needle to a higher standard for this team. So when we critique them, we're basing it off of that. But we understand this is the game we would have lost in previous years. Last week was also one of the, it's one of those things that we get. But the bar's raised. So we need to start seeing that improvement, that mid-season improvement. We just haven't. You see a lot of other teams improving mid-season pretty rapidly, and we're just not seeing that. So that is something that we need to start seeing in these next couple of weeks before November gets here and the schedule gets really, really tough. So, but all right, Brian, anything else? Anything else, Mr. Moore?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here. Yeah. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you? No, I'm just He's on X at Brian's dad.
I think I have a Twitter account. I don't remember now.
So y'all go follow him over there in case he finds it. All right. Well, that'll do it for us here. Y'all know, per usual, Tuesday. Y'all tune in Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. We'll be here bringing you everything about Minnesota week. I'll be bringing on Ali Babua from We Live for Big Saturday. He was on the Friday call-in show, so he'll be coming. He's a Minnesota guy. He'll be coming in to help us break down Minnesota. So y'all stay tuned for that on Tuesday. And then, of course, on Friday, we have our call-in show per usual. But yeah, with that being said, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see y'all in the next video. Peace.